Hello there, folks. Good morning. Hope you're all doing well today. Excuse me. Morning, Keegan. All right, well, it is 7:40, so I'm going to go ahead and get started on time. So let's just talk a little bit about what's going on. First of all, there was an online quiz that just closed. It was due for today. That's one of several assignments, the rest of which are going to be offered today that will help you prepare for the first exam, which is on Thursday. So a couple of things. I spent a lot of time over the course since the start of the school year, the last few weeks, doing lectures and so on, and covering all the material for Unit 1. Anything that's covered in the lectures, anything that we've discussed, excuse me, I'm very sorry, I'm just super tired today. Anything that we've discussed is fair game for the exam. There's going to be a number of small assignments that I'm going to assign today for review purposes. Good morning. And so a couple of things that I wanted to mention. The test will be online. It will be a timed exam. So you will only have an hour to complete it on Thursday. And that should be plenty of time to get it done, to be honest with you. Make sure that as we move forward that you have the assignments done by the time that you take the test. So the thing about these assignments is that you need to use these assignments to study. I also encourage you, if you like, to go back and watch some of the previous lectures as they're all recorded. Yes, it will be a multiple choice. There will probably be some matching and other things in there as well. And so please do go and review stuff. Look through the PowerPoint. Look through the previous lectures. Look back at some of the assignments that we did, and use those to study for the exam. As you guys are going to be working on that material today to help prepare you to take this test on Thursday, I'm going to be updating all the grades. I've stayed on top of grading to the best of my ability. Is it on quizzes? No, the test is not on quizzes. Yes, I did get your email, Nicholas. I haven't responded to it yet, but I will. So let's just talk about a couple of things. Number one, I've tried my best to stay on top of grading, including going back and looking for students who didn't hand in things and are handing in stuff late. You guys have to understand that every single time that you hand in a late assignment, you complicate my life exponentially. I understand that it's difficult, and I understand there's a lot to juggle and stuff like that, but I teach 8 classes, and 6 of them are different from one another, and to try and stay on top of constantly going back and making sure that you handed things in and whatever else. It's really frustrating. And so today I need to take time to go back and make sure that I have everything that in the gradebook that's been submitted, whether it's late or otherwise, update all the grades, et cetera, et cetera. So I really am going to give you the vast majority of this class today to be working. What is this test for? It's for the entire first unit. Anyway, the test is of everything. It's like any other, I don't know, like what is the test for? It's to measure if you understand what you've been learning about. Anyway, I really need you guys to be diligent about getting your stuff in on time, because it is really, really hard to have to go back and constantly be searching through and finding assignments and switching between classes, switching between assignments on Q, switching between assignments on Canvas. It's just, it literally takes so much time, and it's just a waste of my time, which I have very precious little of. So I do need you guys to be diligent about getting this stuff done today, not procrastinating, not being lazy. The assignments are very doable. You just have to do them. And if you don't understand it, then send me a message or something. But I don't think that I'm asking too much here to ask you guys to be handing things in on time. And it's not just one person, it's a bunch of people. On Canvas, there's a Unit 1 review test. Is that the practice test? Yeah, it's a practice test. Yeah, it's a practice test. It just has questions on it that help you review. That was one of the assignments that we're going to do to review, but I didn't want to dump a test on you on Tuesday. So we're taking today to do some more time to review, to go over some concepts and so on. And then I'm going to give you some time here when I log off, after I get done with the things that I need to talk about. Then you're going to have the rest of the time to start working on this stuff and get it done by Thursday when the test is. Now, if you don't do it by Thursday, then what's the point of me even assigning it? Because then it's not helping you prepare for the exam. That's the whole point of doing these assignments, is to make sure that you're getting some practice in reviewing the material and making sure that you understand it. So please, 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 please use your time wisely. Get the things done so that when we come back on Thursday, you can take the test. You'll have been, reviewing for it. You'll be prepared to go. And I can then use that day to put in the work that you're going to be doing for then. Today, it's mostly going to be a review / catch-up day, which a good number of students in here need, as there's been pretty, spotty participation and submission of the work. My grade never changed for the Renaissance grade. I still have the incorrect score. Let's take a look. The Renaissance grade. I need to figure out Renaissance assignments. Jacob, I'm pulling this up right now. All right, Jacob, just updated it right now. So just as you saw right there, that's just to take care of one assignment, right? And imagine having to do that for umpteen kids and umpteen assignments. It takes forever, just to do one. Not a problem. But now you kind of understand, right? Like the process of going through. And that was an easy one because the score is already done. For the other ones, I got to read through them and make sure that you actually did it and know what you're talking about. So, so please, if you can just do assignments on time, that would really make my life so much easier. Are we able to retake the test if we fail? Absolutely not. No. The score that you get on the test is the only score that you're going to get. And there's reasons for that. I need to mention something else about this, which is don't cheat. Don't cheat. I'm not an idiot. Okay. I know that the internet is out there and you can look up things and blah, blah, blah. That's why the test is timed. Okay. So to discourage people from going on and looking up answers or whatever else. All right. So please be a student of integrity, do a good job and don't be a cheater. All right. There's just, at the end of the day, it's just really dishonest and lacking in integrity. Okay, so let's review some concepts here. Remember that this test is going to be covering everything that we've talked about in Unit 1. So we started off talking about ancient Greece, and we talked about the rise of democracy in Greece. We talked about some different governmental styles, monarchies, oligarchies, aristocracies. All of that stuff is stuff that you're going to need to know for the exam. Talking about ancient Greece, we also talked about the great reformers of ancient Greece who started to implement more widespread democracy, although it was still pretty limited compared to what we have in the United States in modern times. But talked about those three great reformers. You're probably going to want to reacquaint yourself with those guys, Solon, Cleisthenes, and Pericles. And then you're going to want to also want to look at the three Greek philosophers, Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, and kind of their contributions in thinking about things. And we did assignments on each of these guys. And then we moved on to Rome, and we talked about the Roman Republic and how the form of democracy in Rome wasn't voting directly on laws, but rather voting on representatives. So they had an indirect form of democracy there, and then eventually it turned into an empire. And we also talked about the 12 tables of Rome and how they wrote down their laws. And this set an example to future civilizations to write their laws so that the laws would apply to everybody. We also talked about the establishment of the monotheistic Judeo-Christian tradition, talking about the development of Judaism, talking about the development of Christianity and how their view on things was less about the sorts of Roman views, the legal, ethical reason side of things, and more about the moral side of human dignity and individualism and things like that. Although, of course, individualism wasn't widely encouraged in the Roman Catholic Church days. They wanted uniformity. They wanted everybody to be the same and of the same Christian doctrine. But nonetheless, individual morality, that is, that everybody has the choice to choose between good and evil, and everybody should be choosing good. And then we talked about the rise of Islam as well, and some of the tenets of the Muslims who follow Islam. And then we talked about jury trials, and we talked about England and democratic traditions that started to get re-implemented, or at least not necessarily democratic, but constitutional ones. That is, we talked about how they developed the Magna Carta, which limited the power of the king and established a parliamentary body. And that parliamentary body, although it was not democratic at the time, begins to move towards, in future years, a more democratic body by the time that we get to about the 1800s or so. And people are able to then vote for who they want to represent them in Parliament. We also talked about the jury trial being where crimes of a particular nature were judged by a group of people's peers, And then from there, the royal judge would determine if they were guilty or not. We talked about the English Civil War and how when kings of England tried to rule with an absolutist nature, Parliament refused. Parliament said, no, we're not going to just allow the king to rule without having any checks to his power. And this resulted in a civil war in England, where for a period of time, there was this guy named Oliver Cromwell who took over and established essentially a military dictatorship. He tried to establish a republic in England, but it didn't really look like the Roman Republic, and it also wasn't very democratic. And then eventually, after Oliver Cromwell's death and then his son's death, removal a few years later, they went back and they restored the monarch, but this time with the idea that Parliament now had subdued the monarch to underneath the power of Parliament. And so, Parliament increasingly gains power over time. This incident where after Charles II dies, who was the king that they restored to the throne after the English Civil War, after that, his younger brother, James, took over, but James II was Catholic. And being that he was Catholic and most of the Parliament was Protestant, they didn't want a Catholic king. And so they removed the king and placed the king's daughter, who was Protestant, on the throne, along with her Dutch husband, William of Orange. And this event was known as the Glorious Revolution. And right after the Glorious Revolution, the king and queen, the new king and queen of England, signed a motion or a bill or an act into effect, which was the English Bill of Rights. And so there were a number of rights that became guaranteed to particularly English male nobles, which is really who that was focused on at that time. And these rights, protected parliamentarians from, tyrannical rule. So that pretty much covers the whole unit in terms of, that's obviously only a brief overview of the things that we talked about, but those are the sorts of things that are going to be on the exam. And that's why I wanted to take some time today to give you some other activities. There will be quizzes, there'll be a little bit of vocab and stuff like that to give you a chance to study for this test, and then we can come back on Thursday and we'll take the test. So I am in the process of putting those assignments onto Canvas right now, and within the next probably 5-10 minutes or so, you'll see them pop up, and then you can begin to use the rest of your class time today, which will be a pretty solid hour, really, for you to be able to begin reviewing this. And then if you are not done by the time that 9 o'clock hits, then you can finish up doing these assignments this afternoon. I just ask that you please do have all of these assignments done and submitted by the time that we come back to class on Thursday. So at this time, we are going to take some quick attendance now that we are about 18 or so minutes into this class. So at this time, let's have you guys tell me, what is a good question? All right, let's see here. Okay, here's a good question for you, probably something that many of you are thinking about. If you could spend your time right now, other than sleeping, sleeping's not the only answer you can't say is sleeping. It has to be doing something. If you could be doing any other hobby right now, okay, other than sleeping, than doing school, all right, what would you be doing? If you could spend today doing whatever you wanted to do, whether it's bird watching or, building models or whatever it is, what hobby would you do? Playing video games, building motorized bike, that's cool. Playing with my dog, reading, volleyball, games, riding my horse, playing basketball, nice. Stock up and you're killing me, Arnav. You're killing me. Oh man. What 10th grader responds in that fashion? Are you serious? Cheer practice, eat ice, watch Netflix, hiking. Hiking's always fun. Playing video games. For those of you there's like been 10 or 12 young boys in here who have said playing video games. What video games would you be playing? I'll look into it, Arnav. I appreciate it. Dirt bike, cool. Go swimming. Games with the boys. Yeah, what games are you guys playing? Rust. That game is intense. I used to play Rust. Almost nobody knows there's about to be a massive food shortage. Really? Please spread the word. Okay. Minecraft. Siege. Cool. All right. Well, at this time, I'm going to turn you loose on getting this work done. So please get started on it. I have never played Overwatch before. Plus, I don't really have any time to play video games. So I'm too busy. So I don't play anything now. But I am going to bring this to a close here. And I would like you guys to be checking on in the next, it won't take long, next 5 minutes or so. You'll see assignments start popping up on the on Canvas. So do get started on that. And as you guys are doing that today, I'm going to be updating grades and doing everything that I need to do on my end to make sure that we're all set to go. Before I sign out here, are there any other individual issues outside of the ones that I'm already aware of, like with Nico? Are there any other individual issues that need to be addressed here? All right. Well, if there's no other issues, then or if you think of one, then just shoot me a message on Canvas and I'll take care of it. But get started. We'll see you on Thursday for the test. Have a great day, kids. Okay, I'll take care of it, Zoe.